off by saying congratulations on the new single, Hope is for the Hopeless. We've been playing it on our show now for about a week, and it's been getting amazing feedback, so congratulations.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. I didn't know you were playing it for about a week now, so that's really nice to hear. Thank you.
No problem. Well, mate, this song is such a deep song, and it is written about such a sad and tragic thing that so many people have to face. Tell us a little bit about how this song came into being and what you wrote the song about.
Yeah, so the topic of this song, I know, is quite a bit of a touchy subject. Obviously, it touches on the religious side of things, which can be, conflicting for a lot of people who may have gone through, their faith and maybe lost it. But look, the song came about in the writing process with Ted from Circles. So it was a funny story, actually. I played a show with them at Progfest. I think it was 2018. It might have been the last Progfest. And I was speaking to him after the show, and I always wanted to work with Ted because I just love what he does. And we'd been, we'd grown up in the scene together and, rehearsed in the same studios and known each other through playing together a long, long time ago. And I said to him, hey, man, if you've got any, spare tracks lying around, do you want to maybe shoot them my way? And he was like, yeah, sure. Because he has a whole array and backlog of list of songs that he's got that he doesn't use, Yeah. And so he was like, some of these riffs and tracks are just going to waste. So, I went around one day and, we went through his catalogue and there was something I liked. He sent it over and, I kind of pieced together parts of this track and we worked in collaboration. We came up with some different parts musically. And then once that was sorted, I put some lyrics to it. And he had already had this track titled Hope is for the Hopeless. So that kind of inspired me and just planted a seed to write about something religious, because myself, I've always had kind of a weird kind of thing with religion. I've never known really to delve into it or to step away from it. As a child, my parents had taken me to the church, and when I was getting closer to my teenager years, I realised that maybe this isn't for me, and I was kind of forming my own thoughts about it. But in any case, once I had watched a lot of documentaries on this subject of the Catholic Church and found what has actually been happening for quite some time, I was quite astonished to kind of hear about the trauma and the kind of horrific acts that have been taking place behind closed doors there with altar boys and the priests. And it kind of sparked some inspiration to write some darker lyrics, as you can tell with this track. But I've kind of touched on the perspective of a victim for the first half of this song and them kind of dealing with that trauma and finding their way through, which is absolutely horrendous. It's just the fact that these people have to go through that and are constantly reminded of religion, as it's such a massive part of our culture, is just, it's a never-ending kind of cycle for these people. And when I was watching these documentaries, these, more often than not, there were boys, and these were 30, 40, 50-year-old men who are still dealing with these things and going through counselling, day in, day out, and are always reminded of this because, there's churches on every corner, and that's, when you've got people kind of who are religious and they sometimes shove it down your throat, it'll be hard to escape that kind of trauma. So that's where the lyrics kind of come from. And for the second half of the song, I've also kind of written the perspective from the the cardinal, the priest, brother, whatever you want to call them, who are committing these kind of acts, and them actually questioning their faith, given that they are doing these things and realising what's going on. As, people who do go to these churches look at these Catholic priests as some sort of form of guidance or light in their life, but these people themselves, the priests, may not be the ones who are, everything they kind of are cracked up to be, because they might be the lost souls themselves, If they are committing these kind of horrific acts, then, are they really, knowing what they're doing and following all these scriptures? And yeah, it's a very touchy subject, and obviously, people are allowed to believe whatever they want to believe, but just when I did come across these kind of these documentaries, and I saw the trauma and the history of it all, it really kind of stirred something up inside of me, and I kind of wanted to print that out of my mind into a form of sound somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you find it difficult to write the lyrics? Because I would have to take myself to a pretty dark place to write from those perspectives.
Absolutely. It's a very good question. It's a very good question, because there is some sort of, it's an uncomfortability, when you do kind of put yourself in these places. And I'm sure there are other singers, songwriters, musicians, who do the same. But I think it's a good thing in a way, because it conveys an emotion that is different, and is kind of hard to kind of swallow. So, I tend to try to do that in my songs. I try to stir some sort of emotion lyrically, just so it's not your everyday run-of-the-mill kind of standard songs that you kind of forget about. But, it is difficult. That's a very good question, because when you are immersing yourself in the songwriting process, especially with lyrics, it's always really, really tricky to find what to say about, these kind of darker or really emotive topics, and convey what you're feeling. So it's quite a difficult process, because you do have to put yourself in the mind of, in this instance, the victim and what they're feeling, So, I can only imagine the absolute trauma that these people go through, especially being such young children,
Yeah.
But, so that was a difficult process. So, great question.
Now, the last couple of years have been really tough on the industry, and they must have been really tough on you, because the band was just starting to get momentum. The EP came out in 2018 and did really well, and then, like you said, you were playing Progfest and festivals like that, and then everything ended. What's the last couple of years been like for you, and how are you getting things back on track now?
To be honest, it's been an absolute nightmare, trying to get this band back off the ground. We pretty well lost our whole band, apart from me and my partner, who's the bass player. Everyone has gone from the original lineup, so it was really difficult starting that process again, because it was just me and her writing the songs again, for the new stuff that's going to be coming out, or the new stuff that you've heard.
Yep.
And we were trying to find people along the way during this process, and it was very, very difficult. But having grown up in the scene and making connections in the past, luckily for me, I'd known some people who had been in different bands and whatnot, and we got onto a lovely group of guys called Narberus, and they are helping us. So everyone in that band has jumped on board, except their bass player, because we have our own bass player, thank God. But so they agreed to help do the show. So they're not official members, but they are just really, really genuine, nice guys, and they learned all the songs, and they're happy to happy to jump on and play. And we played our first show in nearly 3 years on Friday, just gone,
Yep.
at the Tote, which was absolutely awesome, and everyone had a great time. But it was a difficult process because we did have a tour lined up that got cancelled. We were going to do an East Coast tour, and all the venues were booked and all this. We were going to play with a couple of Queensland bands and Sydney bands, and it all just got cancelled. And that kind of really, along with losing all the members in the band, that kind of put an extra sting in the show as well. So it was very difficult. And through that process, I wrote The Void, actually, which was about the coronavirus, and everyone kind of feeling that emptiness and not knowing what to do. So that's where those kind of lyrics were inspired for as well, yeah.
Awesome. So what are your plans for the rest of this year? Because I know a lot of people are listening to this track at the moment and thinking, right, can we expect new music this year? What are the plans for this year?
Absolutely. So we do have a new single coming out shortly, another one, and that'll be accompanied with a lyric video. I won't give too much away from, who we work with for that one.
Yep.
But we have a completed EP, which has been tracked by Ted. He's our producer. So that's all ready to go. We've just got to work out PR for that one. But, we do have some things lined up. We've got some shows lined up and possibly a tour. So, don't want to give too much away.
Yep.
But we are definitely getting things off the ground, and we've just started with our show on Friday, and we got a really good response. So we're ready to go. We've got our team ready. We've got the band ready. We're in a really good position, and we can't wait to get back out there. It's been so long, and it just feels so good to get back out there. Like, I can't even tell you. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, mate, we are going to play Hope is for the Hopeless on our show again right now. So what would you like to say to all of your fans out there before we play the track again?
Thank you so much for listening. Like, it's a massive support and help, and we really appreciate everyone who has been digging this track. It means so much because we have put in so much work for it. But, keep spinning it, turn it up. We've got some new things coming. Get excited. Yeah, we can't wait to get back out there.